Exercise. Counting votes. You're implementing a poll app for your class. You start with a basic yes-no question counter, and now you have your first batch of answers back, parsed into arrays below. This is a lot of data, but don't worry too much about the long arrays. Whether you're planning to iterate over 2 items or 2,000, you'll write the loop in exactly the same way. So we have should mascots change votes, should install coffee vending machines votes, and should have more poll options votes. And they're all bools, so they are true or false. This is too many votes to tally quickly by hand, so you'll write some code to tally it for you. Note, this is also a lot of votes for Swift to use type inference to determine what kind of array it has. The type annotation is written here in the array literals above to tell Swift the type of array. This prevents the playground from running slowly. So saying it's a bool right off, it knows that this is a whole array of true or false answers. Exercise. Create 2 variables, one to count yes votes and one to count no votes. Each should start off with a value of 0. So 2 variables, so yes votes, initializing that to 0, and then var no votes, also initializing that to 0. Then we are going to create a for in loop that iterates over one of the vote arrays and checks the value of each vote. If the vote is true, the loop should add 1 vote to the yes variable. If it's false, it should add 1 vote to the no variable. So we are going to use a loop. So for each vote in should mascot change vote, which is our first array, we are going to ask if the vote for each vote is equal to true. And if it is, we are going to add 1 to yes votes. So yes votes plus equals 1. If it's not true, it's definitely false because there are only 2 options. So else no votes gets 1. So we can see already that this is iterated 125 times over the yes vote and 75 times over the no vote. All right, after the loop has finished, write an if statement that compares the 2 values and prints a different message based on whether the vote passed or failed. So we're going to say if yes votes are greater than no votes after tallying them, we are going to print a statement that says the vote has passed. And if it didn't pass, it failed. So else the mascot change vote has failed. So we look down here in our console, the mascot change vote has passed. Huzzah! Exercise. Test your code by calling the for in loop on each of the vote arrays, which measures 1 by popular vote. All right, so we need to reset our yes and no votes to 0, because we don't want to add all the yes votes together for all of the polling options. So no votes, just for our individual lists. So no votes, reset to 0. Now we're going to do another loop. So for each vote, and the next one is should install coffee machines. So for each vote in that array, if the vote is true, then yes votes adds 1. Otherwise, it's false, so no votes gets 1. So this is equal, so this next part will be interesting. If yes votes are greater than no votes, which we can already see, they're pretty even to me, then print the install, I guess that doesn't have to be uppercase, install coffee vending machine vote has passed. All right, else, so if yes votes are not greater than no votes, we are printing missing an E up here. Failed. All right, so the install coffee vending machine vote has failed because 100 is not greater than 100. So this evaluates to false. Now we're going to do the same thing for our final vote, and you should be seeing a pattern here. I'm going to copy actually all of this, and we're just going to change a few things. So we're resetting yes and no votes. And then for each vote in, I'm not looking at vending machines anymore. I want to look at should we have more poll options? So if true, yes votes gets 1, else no votes gets 1. So this one looks like it iterated over yes 74 times and no 126. And then if yes votes are greater than no votes, install coffee vending machine vote. That is not the vote we were looking at here. So have more poll options vote has passed. So the have more poll options vote has passed, or the have more poll options vote has failed. So that has failed. So we have a passed and 2 faileds. The extension. Your for in loop would be even more powerful if you could easily reuse it. The easiest way to reuse code is to put it in a function. So notice up here, it was very redundant. It was the same code with just a couple tweaks here and there over and over again. So we are going to write a function that takes 2 arguments, a string describing the issue being voted on, and an array with the issue's bool values. So move the for in loop and the if statement inside of the function so it prints the results when you call the function with a particular issue's arguments. You should be able to call the function like this. Example, print results, so that's the name of our function. And then it has these 2 parameters for issue. Should we change the mascot? This is the issue we're going to pass. This is the argument. With votes, should mascot change votes? So a message like this should be printed to the console. Should we change the mascot? 54 yes, 23 no. So we are going to make a function, func, print results. And then for issue, and that is the argument label for our issue. And that is going to be a string. With votes, which are votes, and that is going to be an array of bools. There we go. All right, inside of that function, we have print the issue that we typed in here, so whatever string the issue is. And then we are going to make variables that are specific to this function, yes votes, so they're going to reset every time and create every time and disappear every time the function runs. And then we have for each vote in, and the list we are looking at is votes, so for each vote in votes, if vote is equal to true, then yes votes plus equals 1, else it's false, so no votes plus equals 1. And then after we do that checking, we are going to print, and this is the second part, so we have should we change the mascot, and then we need to print this. So this is going to be an interpolated string, so we're going to say yes votes, and then yes, and then interpolate no votes. No. So when we then call this function, we're going to print results, and then for issue, it wants us to say, should we change the mascot? Oh. The string, should we change the mascot? ASCOT. And then with votes, and this is going to be the should mascot change votes yes array. So when all of that runs, we are getting some errors here, but that should print this message. Should we change the mascot? 54 yes, 23 no. I think Swift is, or Xcode is just taking a little while to figure this out, but that is how to complete the exercise counting votes exercise.